Aquarius, May 5th, 2026. Tarot, you're not ready. 1. Welcome, Aquarius. Today, May 5th, 2026, the cards have been laid out with unusual gravity. The universe has paused, holding its breath, and what it has to say to you today is both a warning and a gift. Before you dismiss what you are about to read, know this: the tarot never speaks without reason, and today it is speaking loudly, clearly, and directly to you. 2. The first card drawn for you today is the Tower. Its imagery is unmistakable. A tall structure struck by lightning, figures falling from great heights, flames consuming what was once considered solid and permanent. This is not a card of destruction for destruction's sake. The Tower appears when the universe has determined that what you have built no longer serves your highest good, and it is time for that structure to come down. 3. You may feel, Aquarius, that things in your life are relatively stable right now. You may even feel proud of the foundations you have laid, like in your relationships, your career, your belief systems, but the tarot is telling you something different today. It is saying that the stability you perceive is, in many ways, a comfortable illusion. You are not ready for what is coming, and the reason you are not ready is because you have been pretending the cracks do not exist. 4. The second card in your spread is the Moon, and it arrives shrouded in its characteristic ambiguity. The Moon rules over the unconscious mind, over secrets, over the things we refuse to look at directly, because the light of full awareness would be too blinding. For you, Aquarius, the Moon is pointing to a part of your emotional world that you have sealed off, archived, and tucked away under the heading of already dealt with. 5. But here is the truth the cards want you to sit with today. You have not dealt with it. You have managed it. You have intellectualized it. You have reframed it, rationalized it, and wrapped it in philosophical language that makes it sound resolved. Aquarius, you are one of the most mentally gifted signs of the zodiac, and that gift can become your greatest obstacle when you use intelligence as a shield against genuine emotional reckoning. 6. The third card drawn is the Eight of Cups. This card depicts a solitary figure walking away under a moonlit sky, leaving behind 8 carefully arranged cups. There is no anger in this image, no drama, just a quiet, deliberate departure from something that no longer fills the soul. You have been contemplating this kind of departure yourself, Aquarius, though you may not have named it yet. 7. Something in your life, perhaps a relationship, perhaps a role you have been playing, perhaps a version of yourself you have outgrown, is asking to be left behind. The Eight of Cups does not promise that walking away will be easy. It promises only that staying when your soul is calling you forward is a deeper form of suffering than the grief of release. The cards are asking you today, what are you refusing to leave because you are not yet ready to grieve the loss? 8. Your planetary ruler, Uranus, is currently in a position that amplifies disruption. Uranus has always been your cosmic companion, governing your sign with its insistence on revolution, originality, and freedom. But even Aquarius, the great liberator of the zodiac, can become attached to structures and people and identities in ways that quietly limit true freedom. Uranus is now shaking those attachments, whether you consent to being shaken or not. 9. The warning embedded in today's reading is not meant to frighten you. Warnings in the tarot are acts of mercy. They are the universe extending a hand before the storm arrives and saying, you still have time to prepare. You still have the opportunity to meet this consciously rather than being swept away by it. The question is whether you will heed the signal or continue scrolling past it as though it does not apply to you. 10. The fourth card in your spread today is the Five of Pentacles. This card traditionally speaks to hardship, to feeling left out in the cold, to financial or material concern. But in your reading today, it carries a subtler message. The Five of Pentacles asks you to examine where you have been operating from a scarcity mindset, where you have been making decisions, especially in love and career, from a place of fear rather than a place of genuine abundance and trust. 11. Aquarius, you are a visionary. You can see futures that others cannot even begin to imagine. But visions require vessels, and vessels require grounded, present moment action. The Five of Pentacles is pointing to a gap, the gap between the life you can envision and the daily choices that are either closing or widening that gap. Are you investing in your vision, or are you surviving inside it? 12. The fifth card drawn is the King of Swords reversed. This is a significant placement and it demands careful attention. The King of Swords upright represents clarity of thought, decisive action, intellectual authority, and the courage to speak truth without flinching. Reversed, this energy turns on itself. The reversed King of Swords points to a mind that has become tyrannical, a mental landscape where overthinking has replaced intuition, where the need to be right has silenced the deeper knowing. 13. Does this resonate, Aquarius? Have you found yourself lately caught in loops of analysis, unable to make decisions because you keep introducing new variables, new considerations, new hypothetical outcomes? The reversed King of Swords is telling you that your brilliant mind, if left unchecked today, will become your biggest obstacle. Not because thinking is wrong, but because you are using thought as a substitute for action and feeling. 14. There is someone in your life right now who is waiting for you to show up more fully. This may be a romantic partner, a close friend, a family member, or even a professional collaborator. The cards are not naming this person specifically, but the energy is unmistakable. Someone who has been patient, who has been extending grace, who has been holding space for a version of you that has not yet arrived. The reading today carries a gentle but firm message. Their patience is not infinite, and you are not as ready as you think you are. 15. The sixth card in your spread is the Ace of Wands, and it arrives like a spark thrown into dry kindling. The Ace of Wands represents the very first impulse of creative energy, the seed of a new beginning, the potential of something magnificent before it has taken any tangible form. This card is telling you that a new opportunity, possibly one you have been dreaming about for a long time, and is preparing to enter your field. 16. But here is the critical message attached to this ace. You must be ready to receive it. An ace is pure potential. It does not carry momentum of its own. It requires a human hand, your hand, to channel it, shape it, and bring it into form. If you are still carrying the weight of unresolved emotional baggage, if you are still operating from the reversed King of Swords energy of mental paralysis, you will watch this opportunity pass through your fingers like smoke. 17. Aquarius, you have spent years developing your intellect, your social awareness, your humanitarian vision. You have poured yourself into ideas and causes and conversations that stretch the boundaries of what most people dare to think. And all of that is beautiful and real and worthy. But today, the tarot is asking something different of you. It is asking about your inner world, not your outer contributions. 18. What lives inside you that has never been spoken aloud? What grief have you carried so long that it has begun to feel like a permanent part of your personality? What wound do you keep returning to in your relationships? Not because others keep reopening it, but because you never fully allowed it to close. The reading today is circling around something tender and unfinished within you, Aquarius, and the cards will not let it rest. 19. The seventh card drawn is the Two of Cups, and in your spread today, it occupies a position that speaks to your relational world. The Two of Cups is the card of genuine connection, of mutual recognition, of two people meeting each other with openness and authenticity. In your spread, however, this card is flanked by the reversed King of Swords and the Moon, meaning that the connection this card promises is currently being blocked by your own walls. 20. You are someone who believes deeply in human connection, Aquarius. You care about people in a broad, expansive, almost cosmic way, but intimacy, the specific, vulnerable, one-on-one kind, can be deeply uncomfortable for you. It requires you to be seen not as the visionary, not as the wise friend, not as the one who always has the answer, but simply as a person who is still figuring things out. That kind of visibility terrifies you more than you admit. 21. The eighth card in your reading is the Four of Swords, and it arrives as both instruction and invitation. The Four of Swords is the card of rest, of recuperation, of strategic retreat. It shows a figure lying in repose, swords surrounding them but not threatening, held in suspension, waiting. This card is telling you, Aquarius, that before you take any major action today or in the days ahead, you must first be still. 22. The stillness the Four of Swords calls for is not laziness. It is not avoidance. It is the intentional creation of inner quiet so that you can hear what your soul is actually saying beneath the noise of your daily mental chatter. Aquarius, When was the last time you sat with yourself in true silence, without a podcast or a book or a conversation to fill the space? When was the last time you let yourself simply be, without needing to produce or understand or fix anything? 23. Today's energy is carrying what astrologers might call a threshold frequency. You are standing at a doorway, Aquarius, and the doorway leads somewhere genuinely new. But thresholds have an interesting quality. They demand that you leave something behind in order to pass through. You cannot carry everything you have accumulated into the next chapter. Something must be surrendered. Something must be released. And the tarot today is asking you to identify what that thing is. 24. The 9th card drawn for you is the High Priestess. This is one of the most powerful cards in the major arcana, and its appearance in your spread today is deeply significant. The High Priestess is the keeper of hidden knowledge, the guardian of the space between what is seen and what is unseen. She does not speak in the language of logic. She communicates through intuition, through symbol, through the quiet voice that knows before your mind has finished constructing the question. 25, Aquarius, your intuition has been trying to reach you. It has been sending signals through dreams, through gut feelings, through the strange discomfort you feel in situations that look perfectly fine on paper. The High Priestess is telling you to stop overriding those signals. Stop explaining them away. Stop translating your inner knowing into intellectual frameworks that make it more palatable to your rational mind. Trust what you know before you know how you know it. 26. There is a decision you have been postponing. You know which one. It has been sitting in the back of your awareness like a document left open on your desktop. You keep minimizing it, but it never fully closes. The tarot today is telling you that this decision is connected to your readiness for everything else the universe is trying to bring you. Until you make it, you will keep circling the same terrain, wondering why the scenery never changes. 27. The 10th card, the final card in your spread today, is Judgment. And with this card, the reading reaches its fullest expression. Judgment is the card of awakening, of rising, of answering a call so profound that it reorganizes everything around it. It is the card that appears when a soul has reached a moment of reckoning, when the ordinary rules no longer apply, when the only honest response is complete and total transformation. 28. Judgment appearing as the final card in your reading today is not a coincidence. It is a confirmation that what you are experiencing right now, this restlessness, this sense of being on the edge of something enormous, this simultaneous excitement and dread, is real. It is not anxiety. It is not imagination. It is the vibration of a major life shift preparing to crystallize, and the only question is whether you will meet it with openness or resistance. 29. The title of today's reading is You're Not Ready, and now that you have moved through all 10 cards, it is time to understand what that phrase truly means. It does not mean you are inadequate. It does not mean you have failed or fallen short. It means something more specific and more compassionate than that. It means that the version of you who currently exists has not yet completed the inner work that the next chapter requires. Not yet, but you can. 30. Readiness, Aquarius, is not a destination you arrive at by waiting. It is not something that will descend upon you one morning as you drink your coffee, fully formed and neatly packaged. Readiness is built, one honest conversation at a time, one surrendered illusion at a time, one moment of sitting with discomfort instead of fleeing it at a time. The cards today are not telling you to wait until you are ready. They are telling you to begin the process of becoming ready. 31. Your shadow work is calling you this month, Aquarius. Shadow work is the practice of looking at the parts of yourself you have disowned, the anger you deem too ugly, the neediness you deem too weak, the grief you deem too inconvenient, the fear you deem too irrational. These disowned parts do not disappear when you ignore them. They go underground, and from underground, they run your life in ways you cannot see or control. 32, the reversed King of Swords energy you are carrying is partly the result of this shadow dynamic. When your emotional world is unacknowledged, your mind compensates by working overtime, analyzing, strategizing, planning, theorizing. The intellect becomes a fortress, and from inside that fortress, you are safe, yes, but you are also alone, and you are also missing the full embodied feeling experience of being alive. 33. May 2026 carries with it a powerful astrological backdrop for your sign. The nodes of fate are shifting, and for Aquarius, this shift is directly activating questions around purpose, legacy, and the kind of life you are actually building versus the kind of life you are merely thinking about building. The gap between these two things is something the cards are zeroing in on with precision today. 34. Consider your closest relationships right now. How present are you in them? Not in the sense of physical presence, but emotionally, vulnerably, fully present. Do the people who love you feel truly known by you, or do they feel like they are always reaching toward a version of you that keeps retreating just slightly beyond their grasp? The tarot is posing this question not to shame you, but to invite an honest inventory. 35. The Tower card from the beginning of your reading is still active in this final portion of the message. The Tower does not always mean that something external collapses. Sometimes the collapse is internal, a belief system that crumbles, an identity that can no longer hold its shape, a story you have been telling yourself about who you are and what you deserve that finally reveals itself as fiction. This kind of internal tower moment is what is approaching for you, Aquarius. 36. And it is approaching because you are ready, or because you are almost ready. The "you're not ready" warning in today's title is not the last word on the matter. It is the starting point. It is the universe's way of saying, look at this gap, name it, own it, and then close it. You have everything you need to make this transition. What you have lacked until now is the willingness to look at it clearly. 37. Financially, the Five of Pentacles in your reading suggests that you may be moving through a period of contraction or concern in the material realm. This is not permanent, and it is not punishment. It is, in the language of the tarot, a course correction, an opportunity to reassess your relationship with money, with security, with what you genuinely value versus what you have been conditioned to pursue. Ask yourself today, what does true abundance mean to me beyond the numbers? 38. In matters of love, the Two of Cups reversed by the surrounding energy paints a picture of potential connection that is being obscured by internal barriers. If you are single, Aquarius, the cards are suggesting that the love you seek will not arrive until you have done some meaningful inner clearing. If you are in a relationship, the cards are suggesting that a deeper level of intimacy is available to you, but it will require you to show up in ways that currently feel uncomfortable. 39. For those of you who are in creative or professional pursuits, the Ace of Wands combined with the High Priestess is an extraordinarily potent combination. Something is beginning. An idea, a project, a creative impulse is preparing to take root. The message for you professionally today is to trust the unconventional direction, even when it does not have the endorsement of conventional logic. The High Priestess does not follow the mainstream, neither should you, not in this particular season. 40. The Moon card in your spread also speaks to timing. There are things that cannot be rushed, not because the universe is withholding them from you, but because they have their own organic timing, like the phases of the moon itself, like the tides, like the seasons. Some of what you are waiting for, Aquarius, is coming. It is on its way, but it will arrive in its own time, and your job between now and then is not to force or to control, but to prepare the inner soil. 41. Preparation looks like this: having the difficult conversation you have been avoiding, writing in a journal and being honest about what you find there, reaching out to a therapist, a spiritual advisor, a trusted friend, someone who can hold space for the version of you that lives beneath the composed intellectual exterior. It looks like choosing presence over performance, even when performance feels safer. 42, it looks like sleeping enough, eating well, moving your body, and tending to the physical vessel that carries your enormous spirit. Aquarius, you sometimes neglect the physical because you live so fully in the mental and the abstract. The tarot today is anchoring you in the body, reminding you that your wisdom must live in your bones, not just in your brain, if it is going to serve you in the transformation ahead. 43. There is a version of you on the other side of this reading that is freer, more grounded, more fully expressed, and more genuinely connected to the people and the purpose that matter most. That version of you is not a fantasy. That version of you is the natural result of doing what the cards are describing today. The inner work, the honest accounting, the willingness to be uncomfortable in service of something real. 44, the Judgment card at the end of your spread is calling that version of you into being. It is the trumpet blast of awakening. It is the moment when the fog lifts and you see yourself and your life with sudden, startling clarity. Not a clarity that condemns, but a clarity that illuminates, that shows you the path forward with such brightness that you wonder how you ever missed it. 45. Aquarius, you are one of the most important energies on this planet. Your sign carries within it the frequency of the future, the ability to imagine and to birth what has never yet existed. The world genuinely needs what you carry. But the world does not need a version of you that is operating at half capacity, defending yourself behind walls of intellect, managing your emotions rather than feeling them, contributing to the collective while quietly neglecting the individual soul within. 46. This reading today is a love letter, even though it arrives with a warning label. Every difficult card drawn today was drawn in service of your highest good. The Tower clears, the Moon reveals, the Eight of Cups liberates, the reversed King of Swords awakens, the Five of Pentacles redirects, the Four of Swords restores, the Two of Cups reconnects, the Ace of Wands ignites, the High Priestess guides, and judgment rises. 47. As you move through the rest of this day, Aquarius, carry this reading with you not as a weight but as a compass. When you feel the impulse to retreat into your head, pause and ask what you are feeling. When you feel the impulse to perform competence, pause and ask what you actually need. When you feel the urge to make the safe choice, pause and ask what your soul would choose if safety were not a factor. 48. The universe is not asking you to be reckless. It is asking you to be honest. It is asking you to stop performing readiness and start cultivating it. It is asking you to look at the cracks in the structure you have built, not with shame, but with the calm, practical eyes of someone who knows that a cracked foundation can be repaired, but only if you first acknowledge that the cracks are there. 49. You are on the brink of something profound, Aquarius. The tarot has never been more serious with you than it is today. Take this seriously, not with fear, but with the kind of focused, grounded seriousness that honors the magnitude of what is being offered. The opportunity to transform is always available, but it is rarely this clear, this immediate, this impossible to ignore. 50. So, dear Aquarius, the final message from the cards on this significant day, May 5th, 2026, is this. You are not yet ready, but you are closer than you have ever been. The distance between where you are and where you need to be is not measured in years or in grand gestures. It is measured in the small, brave, daily choices to show up honestly, to feel fully, and to trust that the universe which has brought you to this threshold will also carry you through it. The door is open. The call has sounded. Step forward. End of reading. Aquarius, May 5th, 2026. Tarot, you're not Rhea.